Hello! Today I'm going to talk about the new splash screen and the intro screen. But first, before I get to the exciting part, I'm going to talk about the 6 camera modes. For example, dark mode, sepia mode, and the Game Boy mode, which was suggested to me by Cachefilm. I think it came out really well. I found some shader tutorials for 2 of these, and I will link them in the description, especially the Game Boy one, which I think is really cool and really more complex than you would probably think. But yeah, the camera mode is the first option that is now actually saved and restored in the settings, which is also a very important milestone. But anyway, now to the more exciting part. The game now has a splash screen, which is very important. First of all, the words Catty and Betty are sprites that move up and down with a sign function. The smoke that appears when the words appear is the same as in the Broken Heaven remix video. I basically just copied it over, and I did make the Broken Heaven video with this in mind because I thought, hey, if I draw something here, maybe I can use it in the game, and so here we are. The Hardwine animation consists of a total of 12 sprites. I don't think I have mentioned it before, but it's really easy to make an animation in Unity. Basically, you just select all of the images and drag it into Unity, and it automatically suggests that you want to create an animation, and you just have to assign a name, and that's it. Then you can adjust it in the animation window and move the sprites around if you want, and adjust the timing. It's really easy, and that is one of the reasons why I'm doing so many animations in this game, because it's just drag and drop basically. And that's really fun. For the title, the Spirit Guide for the letters, I wanted to mention that each of the 14 letters has 3 different sprites for fading in, so that you kind of see that it gets drawn. And it also has 3 sprites for the black light hover effect that appears from time to time. The animations get called one after another with a coroutine. I'm a huge fan of coroutines in this game, especially for animations like this, where you can just go from left to right and start the animator and play it from the beginning and stuff like that. For Catty and Betty themselves, they move in with a basic Unity animation. The black lines in the background is just one line. It fades in with a Unity animation that scales the spike on the x-axis from 0 to 1, and the C# script keeps them rotating around the center. I could have just created a copy of the spike in the script, but in this case I laid them out by hand directly in Unity, which I think is better for performance, even because if you generate objects on the fly in one frame could lead to some performance issues, but I'm not sure if it's that much of a performance issue. The 2 cardboard boxes on the side, they also move in with a basic Unity animation, and the smoke that appears when they land is the same smoke that appears when the Catty and Betty words appear at the top. And again, as soon as they land, a C# script makes them explode. Basically all of the clouds have an animation, an animator, and the animator gets enabled, and that's it. The hearts in the background are a Unity particle system. It just emits a lot of heart sprites in a 2-dimensional circle with random directions. I think it has a size over time. Basically it starts out really small and fades out to the edge of the screen. And that is it for the splash screen. Now I also needed a transition from the splash screen to the overworld. And for this I drew a giant heart and a smaller heart, and the bigger hearts, they move in along with a white sprite, and the white sprite is really stretched out on the y-axis. And as it comes in, it spawns smaller hearts on the way to the center. The smaller hearts have a rigid body, and a C# script applies some force to them, so they move a little around in the direction that they're facing. The whole sprite, the white sprite and the bigger heart, they stop in the center so that the words for Ori can appear. And in the background, the scene of the overworld starts to load, and as soon as the loading is done, the hearts play the moving out animation, which is called directly through a script from the animator. The animators have 2 states and I simply switch between the states. The intro scene is not yet implemented, but it will play before the splash screen. It only serves the function to quickly have an image appear on the screen and to not freeze the application, which some Unity applications, when you start them, they kind of freeze for a few seconds, and I definitely want to avoid that. So the intro screen will just appear and there will be a little bit of a loading progress and you will see my name and then it will transition to the splash screen. I also started working on the intro music. I played around on the piano for a bit. I will definitely use the same melody as for the first game. I will just more or less play it again, and I'm not sure if I want to add more instruments to it or some percussion. I think it will just be piano, but I'm not sure yet. I've also been playing the music again for the overworld. Yeah, this is something that I will do in the next 2 weeks. I will start recording the music and adding it to the game and hope that it fits. At the moment it looks like I will just make a pure piano soundtrack again, but at least for the rest of the sounds I will use other sources. If you don't know, for the first game everything was based on a piano, even the sounds when you do stuff in the game. So for this one I will definitely want to switch the effects up, but we will see. That's it for the past 2 weeks. Again, if you want to check it out yourself, you can become a patron or buy it on itch.io and see it in early access, or you can wait until it is finished, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later. Thank you again for watching and I will see you next time. Goodbye.